Welcome to Four Pros Podcast, where we are cultivating culture in the world of basketball. This is your host, Thomas Gibson, and today I'm bringing another interview that I did with my guy, Marquis Addison. Marquis Addison is a Kansas City native. I met him while I was playing at Kansas State through mutual friends. We became teammates through the TBT tournament. The TBT tournament is the basketball tournament that's hosted on ESPN where you compete for $2 million. Me and him got on the same team through my Kansas State alumni team, Purple and Black TBT. Shout out to those guys. Marquis Addison is a well-known veteran around Europe. He's had a tremendous career and he's still going. He's one of the better guys that I like to play with because he has a high IQ level along with me, and we make a lot of things happen on two-man game. Marquis Addison has great insight and great detail when it comes to being a veteran. He has a couple key points and stories that he has throughout his journey that I hope would help young guys, picking the right agent and doing the right things and doing your due diligence when it comes to contract. But I don't want to take too much of his story away. So without further ado, let's hop into it. And we're back. Welcome to Four Pros. I have my guest here, Marquis Addison. How you doing, Marcus?
Big Get, man. Good to see you, bro. Appreciate you having me.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time right now, coming in and share your story. So let's go ahead and kick off to it, man. Where in the world is basketball taking you?
Seemed like everywhere, right? I played 11 years in Europe now, and Israel, Switzerland, France, Romania, and Belgium / Netherlands, and be next. I think that's like 6, 7 countries.
Yeah.
And 11 years, so all around the way.
That's tough, man. You definitely a veteran. You definitely seasoned out here, bro. So, just like me, man.
Feeling like it.
But hey, so let's go ahead before we even get into the overseas, man. We can start off talking about the college life. Your junior, senior year. How was that experience? You were at Missouri Southern State, right?
Yeah, Missouri Southern State. Yeah, Division II. I'm grateful for my experience. The college world is way different, it seems like now, right? But definitely grateful for the route I took to get to where I am now. Went to Missouri Southern fresh out of high school, so I got to do 4 years there. I think in the 4 years, 3 years, we finished in like the top 20. Junior year, senior year, we number one team in the nation. You know what I'm saying? So you get to experience those things at the Division II level when I was kind of a tweener, right? Division II, Division I had offers both ways and this, that, and the third. But ultimately, the Division II route was kind of the route I took, and it was great for me. I got to go step in and play right as a freshman. I started every game as a freshman, and we finished number 4 in the nation, So we had a great team. We all in the record books and stuff because I got to do my 4 years at, playing. And not just, red shirting or taking my time. For me, that's what I didn't want to do, ultimately. So, I chose the D2 route, and it got me to Europe. And I played with so many different guys from so many big universities and stuff. And I always, root for the low man, for the D2 guy or the guy that got out the mud because I relate to that story. So, definitely grateful for my route.
I was gonna ask you because I didn't even know honestly it was a D2 school. Like what made you? I know you said you wanted playing time and you wanted to play right away, but what other schools did you have that was high D1?
Man, Division I had like the University of Denver, UMKC, SIU, Edwardsville, like small schools that were talking to me, and I had at pretty much every junior college. I'm from Kansas City. I guess I hadn't said that. I'm from Kansas City, and I had Kansas has a mecca of JUCOs, right? So all the junior colleges wanted me, and my brother, who's a year older than I, went to junior college in the Jayhawk Conference the year before. He was home by semester. He hated it, That JUCO life ain't for everybody. So for me, that kind of like just turned me off to like, okay, maybe I want to do the JUCO route and then go D1. I wasn't so fixated on that. So I chose to go to D2 route. And, like I said, I started every game on the number 4 team in the nation, so we went to the national tournament. I got to gain that experience, and, me being the same school for 4 years, which doesn't happen anymore, etched me in all the record books and the banners. And so when I go back, my pictures are on the wall and that stuff. And that stuff felt good, better than, what could have went, could have, should have, would have. I'll try not to live like that anymore. So, I
Right.
just, like I said, I'm just straight grateful for the route that I chose.
Right. What record points did you break? Because I mean,
Uh,
even your junior and senior year, you averaged about 17, 5, and 3 on 50, 40, 80 splits. That's crazy.
yeah, I got the opportunity to rock,
Yeah.
so that's part of the package, and when I finished, there's been some guys that have came through after me now. It's been almost 10 years or so, but I finished number 4 in the scoring records. I finished top 5 in steals, top 3 in free throw percentage. I think my class went to 3 national tournaments,
Mm.
and so we were top 20 every season. So those are things that I got to experience for 4 straight years. And it was cool, man. I liked it. Like I said, I'm real grateful. And people, where you from? Like I play D2 all the time. I let it be known for sure.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely something to hang your hat on around here. We know how that goes, but we'll get into
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, we'll get into it later, man. But no, that's awesome, man. So, if you don't mind me asking, who was your coach and how did he? I knew you said you was gonna play right away, but did he give you just the ultimate green light, or you feel like you had to work for it, or you stepping
That,
right in just because you were at Southern Missouri State?
right. Now, I'm glad you asked. That's a good question. So my coach was Robert Korn. I was there for the last 4 years of his 26 years, right? So
Hmm.
old guy, Southern guy. I mean, like a father to me. We just got off FaceTime last week. Truthfully, I learned so much from him in terms of being a man. And I also had Jeff Boshi, right? Former Kansas Jayhawk, and Nick Bradford, another Jayhawk. Um, and then Ronnie Russell. So those are my assistants. And my first year as a freshman in 2010 was Jeff Boshi's first year as assistant coach, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I owe him so much credit. He took me under his wing, skill development every day. I was the only player in my class that went 4 years straight. And from 2010 2014, we had another guy that was a red shirt, right? 2009 to 14, and
Mm.
so he played all 4 years with me. But it was just him and I in that class from the start to finish, from freshman. And Boshi, man, he put me to work, like I wasn't too happy about some of the early morning stuff we used to do back in the day, but I I grew, right? I developed, and
Yeah.
I owe a lot of the skill and shooting stuff. You talked about the shooting splits. I mean, I was skipping class to get on the gun, like
Oh,
that's how
yeah.
dedicated I was. Like math, I'm going to get on the gun. Like I got hopes and dreams, type of thing, and I want to be nice, like,
Yeah.
So, and to backtrack a little bit, I was a two-sport athlete in high school. My senior year, I was first team all state in football, and I was second team in basketball. I actually had more college offers for football than basketball, but I just love hoop. I love to hoop. I still do. So ultimately, that's what I chose. And it wasn't until I was 18 at Missouri Southern for the first time I singularly was focused on one sport. So I contribute that to quote unquote being a late bloomer. And as I put it all together, start working out, strictly basketball and let the football alone, I was 18. My development really ascended quickly.
Yeah.
So that was part of the recipe as well.
No, that's what's up, brother. So, after your junior senior year, you breaking records, you and your team, y'all doing big things. How was that transition going from college to your first overseas job? Talk about that for a little bit.
For my first overseas job, I went to Denmark and I played for Horsens IC. And it's funny because I knew I was going there probably like March of my senior year. So like I'm still playing my senior year, and my good friend Skylar Bolin, who was playing on the same team under a 2-year contract, was talking to him the whole time about this senior at his old school and
Yeah.
da da da. That I knew I was going there before my senior season was even over. So honestly, that was kind of like a relief, but um, I ended up going there. I signed after the season. I signed pretty early, probably May, maybe June. And we went over there and we won a championship in our first year. We beat a big team that was supposedly had 3, 4 times our budget, and things are booming, right? Started Europe and with a championship. So now I'm thinking sky's the limit. I had signed a 2-year deal my first year. So I go back to the same team, We
Okay.
bring in some big recruits, and we end up winning it again. That's the last time anybody's won that league, other than this big budget team that currently runs the league. Bakken is the name of the team that has been winning. But
With
yeah, we went
Mocking Bear.
there and the Bakken Bears, yeah, and we went there in my first and second year. We beat them both years in the finals and won two championships off the bat
Mm,
in Europe. And for me, that was winning's like a drug for me. I love to win. Like I don't like to lose. It's not that has to be said. But for me, that's more important than a lot of other things.
yeah, that's what's up. So who was your agent at the time after your junior senior year, and how was that transition? Because you already knew that you were going to sign overseas, but obviously you needed somebody to represent you. So how did that go?
Right, right. It went okay. So I had this young guy named Alex. He represented a couple other guys that I knew at the time, and I come out of Division 2. I probably had three or four agents reach out, but I was comfortable with him because I knew we had people in common, put it that way. We had people in common that we knew. Um, but ultimately, it was probably a mistake because he had other obligations, it seemed like. I think he was doing real estate or something like that on the side too. And this is just a story to give back game to the young cats that happen to watch this. So my rookie year, I signed a 1+1 and put the player option, right? So if you don't read the contracts, you need to read the contracts. But the contract says in 14 days after with the player option, within 14 days, the player has the option to opt into the next year or to opt out, right? And normally your agent handles all of this. So we win the championship. I'm the leading scorer on the team my rookie year in Denmark. And my agent didn't opt me out of my contract, even though I had like 7 teams calling in the first week after we won the finals, offering 2 or 3 times more than what I was currently making, which wasn't very much as a Division 2 rookie in Europe.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, so I woke up on the 15th day back home in Kansas City. I wake up, I see my phone, and the team. I haven't talked to the team since I left. Right, of
yeah.
course, they're waiting on my option, I
Hmm.
suppose. So my agent did knock me out. So ultimately, now it's no longer a player option. Now it's a team option. So now I'm opted into my contract for the next year. And truthfully, they could have me at the same number that they had me at the year before. Um, so I fight them for about a month, but ultimately it was my fault and my agent's fault as well. And, I was, let's say, forced to go back. And I was a little reluctant, but truthfully, it ended turning out being one of the most fun seasons of my life. Like, I met people that season that I call brothers, and there's still people that I go see in the summertime often, what I'm saying, the memories, because we won it again my second year as well. Um, Memories for a lifetime, and I love that group of guys. Ultimately, it was cool, but I probably lost out on some bread. You know what I'm saying? So really, that takes me in. Yeah, I lost out on some bread for
No,
sure.
that's crazy because I'm sure, right, if they wanted to hit you up about that about that, about the player option, whatever, then they would have reached out between them 14, 15 days, right? Like,
Read the
but
contracts.
read your contract, people. If you're listening, please read your contract. Don't leave it up to your agent. You have to read it thoroughly yourself, man. Um,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah.
So did the agent even have the idea? Because I know you said that he was super busy.
He just forgot.
Yeah, let's just say
He
that.
told
Okay.
he told me, he said, I understand if you want to fire me.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'm sure you do, sir. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, he's not a bad guy. I'm not trying to bash on him, but
No,
it
for sure.
was just, saying it was a bad situation.
But like you said, I mean, looking at, being optimistic about everything, you still won a championship, you still put up great numbers, and you created, uh, what I would say, not necessarily a dynasty, but a legacy for yourself there because you got two back-to-back chips. So
Real,
I'm
real
sure,
talk.
yeah, I'm sure if people talking around there, your name's still ringing. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
That's
it's
what's up.
bittersweet, but it's cool. It's cool. It ended up good.
How was the lifestyle there? Like your first couple years, like talk about that, like that transition from college to the pro life. Was it a culture shock for you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was. Maybe it was a little bit of a culture shock. It's like, every country in Europe has its own different dynamics, and I happen to start in Denmark, and it's known as like one of the happiest places in the world,
Yeah.
right? So it's like people are overly nice, which is cool. They follow the rules to a T. Danish people are very helpful. So my first experience was great. You know what I'm saying? Like I could walk home in the nighttime and not have to look over my back. Things that you just don't take for granted in America. But here is just such a safe place. So that was really such a big change for me. But the ball was all the same, you know what I'm saying? It was morning practices, afternoon practices. We had a young team, so we were really grinding. We'd have 2 days, 3-4 times a week, and we was putting in the work, and the success paid off. And a lot of those guys I played with in those first 2 years went on to play in high levels, including an NBA guy, et cetera. So we definitely we
Nice.
put the work in for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's up, man. So what about the food there, man? How's Denmark food? Like,
Respect to all the Danes, all right? The pastries are amazing. I'll say that right now. I'm
I can
guilty
see
as
that.
charged with the pastries. The little danishes and what they call that stuff, man, amazing. But the other food, not the best,
What,
truthfully.
what,
Not my type. It's a lot of fish, like a
mm,
lot of raw fish and stuff is on the coastline. So it's a lot of like raw fish and like a lot of pork, stuff
uh,
like that. So
yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. It ain't for everybody. So
Mm.
I tried it at least.
Hey, you can at least say that. Hang your hat on
I
that.
I tried it.
How was
They tried to get me to eat a horse steak.
a
They
horse?
tried to get me to eat a horse. I was like, nah, I couldn't try that one. I ain't tried a horse. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, people be doing random stuff, man. Hey, but respect to all the Danish out there. I understand, man. I understand.
Yeah.
So following now, you got 2 championships under your belt in 2 years. Obviously, you got hung up in some agent stuff with your contract, but that happens. So what goes on, following your third year?
Actually, it'd be following my second year, right? So going into my third year, I went to Israel,
Mm,
and played in the National League out there. Truthfully, um, something else to get back to the young guns. I had like FIBA Euro Cup opportunities to play European competition and stuff. But because I kind of lost out on the bread my second year from the agent stuff, I took the bread to go to a second league,
yeah,
and it was cool. It was a great experience, great experience. But if you have the opportunity to play the European competitions at a young place in your career, you should probably do that just to get that exposure.
yeah,
But yeah, so I chose to go to Israel. Great experience. I went there on the beach every day. It's a second league, so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than where I just came from in Europe. We had one practice a day. Normally it was around an hour and a half. No
hmm,
weights or nothing. You kind of have your own weight to give you a gym pass, and you pretty much got all day to yourself. Other than if you want to go get a little lifting, if you want to go get some extra shots up. Some guys on the team, what I'm saying, are studying or something,
yeah,
coming from studying. And so it's a lot more freedom.
yeah,
But that requires you to, what I'm saying, put that extra work in yourself. So sometimes we didn't have a gym. I had to get shots up outside just because I'm programming that way. 100 degree heat at the park. I'm getting shots up outside on the double rim. Um, just to get extra reps up because sometimes our gym wouldn't be available and it would be handball or volleyball or kids or whatever.
yeah,
So it's a
man,
little different dynamic, but it, I enjoyed it. I loved Israel. I loved the food. I loved the culture. It was, I loved the weather. Rained for 10 minutes. I think in the 9 months I was there, I think it rained for like 10 minutes total.
yeah,
Uh, Israel was sweet, man. People, maybe don't know what's going on over there and stuff like that in the news. But, what I tell people is when I was there, in my experience, I had an amazing time.
yeah,
I was 20 minutes from Tel Aviv. The food was great. The weather was great. Everything was cool. I felt safe. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I wasn't I wasn't, there's parts where you don't feel safe. You know what I'm saying? I will say that when you go far down in the South and that kind of stuff, it don't feel that great. But when you're around Tel Aviv and you're in the middle of the country, which is where most of the stuff is happening anyway, it
hmm,
was it was cool for me. I loved it.
yeah. People would definitely have, obviously, in the news climate now, people would have misconceptions about Israel. The year that I played in Israel as well, it was nothing but love, bro. And even if you talk to everybody, man, they have obviously people getting on Patrick Beverly right now because he's in Israel,
Yeah.
but they,
You heard what he said though, right?
yeah,
He's
yeah,
just like yeah. I
people
quote
need
tweet that. That happened.
to,
Like that. Like that.
yeah, people need to understand, bro, because I mean, did you get a bad, like when you signed to Israel, were people kind of worried, texting
People was worried. I'm at the dinner table. I told my mom, my grandmother at the dinner table, like, I'm about to sign this deal to Israel. Israel? Like, I'm like, yeah, like,
you Israel? Yeah,
yeah. We live in America, right? America's a lot more dangerous than any of these places we about to go, with all due respect, a
yeah,
lot of times. But so yeah, I was like Israel, and like I said, when I went there, it was one of my favorite years of my career in terms of lifestyle and how people treat you. I love the Shabbat dinners and stuff. I think the family dinner on Friday night, every Friday night, that's lit.
you
Like
found
that's
some,
such
you
a
found some family dinner to go to.
yeah. I've had two different families every Friday. I'm in either one. Me and my teammate, right? I'm every Friday, and elite food, good vibes, good people. So I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. How was the competition there? How you feel like that was, basketball wise?
That's a good question because like it's second league Israel, so I would say the foreigners they bring in are big time players. A lot of the foreigners are really really good players and have played in other good levels in Europe. And then the domestics, it could be hit or miss. The team with the best domestics is normally the team that wins. Because
Yeah.
most of the best Israelis play in the top league. But you do get some young talent out there though. I played Zeusman, Zoozman, Zeusman, the
Hmm.
Israeli guy. He's like 6'7", shooter. He played for Maccabi now, but he was a big prospect back then. He was 17, and he was working his way up through the second league. And you do see some
Yeah,
of those, but that's kind of rare. So competition,
yeah.
it's okay. It's okay.
So another question about it. I know that in Denmark you had about 4 or 5 Americans, right?
We had like six imports, yeah,
Yeah, 6 imports.
but
So,
yeah, but four Americans.
so what about going from 4 Americans, 6 imports, to only 2 Americans? How do you feel like that? How do you feel like that was?
It's a different brand of basketball, truthfully. Especially
Yeah,
as a guard in leagues like that. You get a ball up once and you get it back, you can't give it up again. You gotta go get a bucket, like, or they gonna send your ass home. Like that's how it is. And that was a little bit of a adjustment for me because I like to think of myself as like I take the right shot. I'm not a big guy that forces a lot of shots type of thing. I like to play the right way. But over there, you kind of had to, saying, take things into your hands a little bit more. And, I got used to that and I started to really enjoy it.
hmm,
But I would say I much prefer playing, the good brand of basketball than the, the '09 James Harden.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel you. You're not a system. You just want to be a part of a system.
Yeah, type of time, yeah.
I got you. So how did that year finish out? How did that year finish out for you?
I would say good, man. We were picked to finish, I think, 13th out of 14th because they had just came up from the third league, and we finished with the fifth best record, sixth place. We made the playoffs. We played Beersheba in the first round, which was a big team back then. They might have
Hmm.
won it that year. To be honest, I think they did win it, and they've been in the top league ever since. And
Hmm.
yeah, we lost 2-0, but we had them in overtime in the first game on the road. Things just didn't go our way, and then we actually had an injury in game two. That was a big injury, so we ended up taking the L. But like I said, people counted us out from the jump. They talking about we gonna finish 13 out of 14. So when you finish, with a top five record, when they thought you were about to be the 13th place team, I mean, they
That's,
definitely welcome you
that's a
back with open arms.
hmm. So going into your fourth year, you have a good year in Israel. What was
Yep.
necessarily next? Have you switched agents around this time during the summers? Like,
Yep.
like
Definitely,
you
definitely switch agents. So I went to Geneva, Switzerland, in my fourth year, and for me, that was this coach that had been offering me for a while. His name is Vedran Bosnich. He'd been offering me for the last year or two, or watching me since my early days of my career. And truthfully, I wanted to get back to Europe after my time in
yeah.
Israel, just to continue to develop as a basketball player with good brand of basketball. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew this guy was great for development. The money was right in Switzerland. And so I said, let's go. Let's go. He'd been wanting me for a while. He gonna give me the keys to the car. And I went there. We had a great season. We won the Super Cup, first of all. We made it to the Cup semis, and then we lost in the finals to Freiburg. And
Yeah.
I was, like I said, he gave me the keys to the car. I was fortunate to have like one of the only triple doubles in Swiss basketball finals history. I had the only triple double in my actual career as well, which is funny. It was in the final, but it
What
was
was
it was
it?
it was nice, huh?
What were the numbers? I didn't know you had a triple double. What were the numbers?
Uh, 22, 10 boards, and 13 assists actually.
Mm. You in your bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
They, yeah, I went and I've only re-seen it once because it wasn't like on the YouTube stream. It was on the hard copy on the national TV or whatever. So I only got to re-see it once. But I think the stat guys helped me out a little bit with the 13. But hey, I had at least 10, so it was still a
Yeah.
triple double.
Hey, take
But
it home, bro.
I'm taking it. I'm taking this. Yeah, so it was great. I was in Geneva, Switzerland. Like I said, it was such a beautiful place. Beautiful place, especially coming from Israel, where it's like, a little sandy, a little dirtier,
Mm.
respectively, like Middle East, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of sand around in the water. So I'm in Geneva, Switzerland, and it's luxurious, man. It's luxurious. Like all the designer stuff, they all got their offices there, hotels and offices. Like I said, it was crazy, right? It was just night and day, but it was so expensive. It was kind of crazy. It's like one of the top three most expensive places in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know the Israeli shekel is pretty high up compared to the US dollar. And I know for a fact the Swiss franc is, man. So do you
It's
feel like it
more,
was any
right?
adjustments? Yes, a lot of times, way times more. I don't know how much,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely more. So were there any adjustments you had to make with your lifestyle when it comes to living in Switzerland?
We was in the
Because like you said,
crib.
I know that we stay in the crib. That's
I said we in the crib, we cooking, we in the crib. Nah, it was nice, right? So Geneva, the part in Geneva I lived in, I lived literally 2 minutes from France. So when I wanted to go
mm,
grocery shopping, I would just pop across the border, right? And now they do limit how much you can bring back, and it is police and patrol there. Like, if you coming through with boatloads of produce and this and that, they're gonna check your receipts and maybe question you a little bit. But ultimately, it was just fine. I just popped across the border in Geneva, went over to France for pretty much everything. I would never really shop in Switzerland because it was so expensive, and
for real.
just bring it back to the crib, and it was all good.
So like, what's the typical like dinner for you in Switzerland if you remember? How much was it compared to the USD?
I just remember my girl, who's soon to be my wife now. She came out to see me. We went to Five Guys, right? You know the Five Guys, and
Five guys
made me
in
think
Switzerland.
Five Guys in Switzerland, right? Downtown Geneva. I think it was $60. 65 US
No,
dollars for two burgers and two fries. I think we only got one drink because I don't drink soda. I think we only got one drink. $65.
keeps you lying, bro.
I was, talking about going to Starbucks. Nah, we gotta go home.
Yeah, dang, $65
No,
for
it was crazy.
nah, that's wild. That's wild. Definitely some
Yeah,
adjustments had to be made.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it was too
So
expensive to be eating out.
yeah. The basketball there, I see you averaged what 16, 6, and 4. Coach gave you the keys. What? How many
Yeah.
imports y'all have? 4 imports.
Yeah, four imports.
4.
Four
So
imports,
you was
yep.
real.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was good. It was a good level. It was a good level. There's three or four teams that are really competitive. Could probably do some noise in European competitions. Um, And yeah, so Freiburg won the league that year, and they think they've won probably 4 or 5 years in a row now. They normally play Champions League or FIBA Euro Cup and that kind of stuff. So it's a good level. There's good exposure there because it's Switzerland, right? Where you at? If you're in Geneva, they speak French. You keep going up north, they speak German, and you go down to Italy and they speak Italian. Like
Mhm.
whatever country they border is basically what they speak. So it was so cool to just be around all that. It's like a melting pot is what they call it, right? It's not even a European country; it's its own entity, right? And it was just cool experience. It was just different, It was different than my first 2, 3 years. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you ever, like during break, were you ever able to travel to other countries? I know you said you went to France, like for grocery shopping and stuff, but were you able to,
Yeah.
where'd you go?
Man, I lived right by the airport, which was nice. And Geneva's like a hub, so they fly everywhere. I went to Barcelona,
Nice.
one random break, and then we went to Lyon, France. I think I went to Paris as well. Trained directly from Geneva to Paris, so it was a nice spot in Europe to be at, to be able to get to a bunch of other places and see some things too.
Yeah. I think that's the great thing, like when it comes to like Switzerland, when it comes to like France, Germany,
Yeah,
Bundesliga, like all the leagues, like if you in that area, I would essentially say you in all of them because it don't take much to from
it's like
France to
a
get to
1 hour flight. Yeah.
yeah. And even like the train, like they got those fast trains that you could take. The transportation
Hmm.
in Europe is a lot different than the States, and you got more access. I think it's probably because they want people to travel around Europe and actually see things, but that's a different
Yeah,
conversation. So
exactly.
yeah. So you said the competition was good. How did y'all end up finishing there?
We lost 3-1 in the finals.
Mm,
Triple double game being the only game we won. Other than that, we lost 3-1. Probably lost to a better team, but we was there, we competed, and we won the Super Cup, so that was nice. But we took on some hardware at least, so that's if we count on that's 2 championships, a cup and a Super Cup in the first 4 years. That's feeling good, and then yeah, so you about to transition to it. Right after
you gotta
that,
you
I'm
gotta be
right.
feeling
I'm right.
great. You
Yeah.
gotta be
Eh,
great. So I don't mean to cut you off, but before we transition to that next year, just like you said, you got 2 chips back to back, you second place. You basically what 3 out of 4 right now? 3 out of 4 on getting some hardware. So how was the preparation for the summer? How was that? How was your mindset going into summer? Like, because for me, I remember my first what year, I tripped. I tripped, bro. I didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was on a cloud 9, cloud 10, bro, and I didn't come back down. And
Vacation.
I was definitely on vacation that summer, bro.
Yeah.
So it definitely bit me in my butt. So how did you handle it? Like, what did you do? You know what I'm saying? How were you talking to yourself during those high times?
Right. That's a good point right there. I've been a gym rat, so it's kind of all I really know. I was getting it in, I was ready for that next step for sure, and every morning, 7 a.m., same 7 a.m. to 8:15, get some weights in,
At
go find a
Mocan?
block some at Mocan, go find some open runs in the evening, but always get my skill work in 5 days a week, at least an hour, 15 a day, and then the rest of it, conditioning, extra shots. Saying that stuff varies on different days, but the standard is for sure getting that skill work in every morning.
Yeah, yeah. Into going into the next year, obviously, since you already locked in and everything, what picking the country that you wanted to play in? How was that process with your agent?
Yeah, that was a tough one because I had a ton of interest, especially from France and countries surrounding France because I was right there in Switzerland. So a lot of teams get to see us. And in Switzerland, the finals were late in June. I think I got home like June 22nd, right? So all the
Oh,
other teams in Europe pretty much are done. So they get
yeah,
to watch those games. It was nice to get that exposure and to have performed well, truthfully, at that time. So I had a situation where I could go back to them, Geneva, right? I had a couple Pro B teams calling in France, and then I had some Belgium interest too. And the money was here, there, here. It was definitely going up. And then I was just kind of torn, right? This is where I think it really helps to have OGs, right? Have
mhm,
older friends or, people you could talk to in Europe. They could really tell you like the best ladders to take to get to where you want to get to, right? Don't chase
right,
the money early. You know what I'm saying? Playing solid leagues that have good exposure where people move up every year. Those type of, good teams, good organizations, right? That
right, right.
don't really have shiesty
Yeah,
reputations, right? Um, Stuff like that. So I ended up choosing to go to France to go to Pro B. Um, it was I turned down some money from lesser places, but it was a good number still I felt comfortable with, and I was still moving up in money. And it was a league that's very professional and, pretty well touted through Europe.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. France is definitely one of those places that I aim to get back to, because that's where I
Yeah,
kind of up at. But I mean, France is one of those well-known places. I think it's second or third, like one of the best leagues in European basketball. European
for
basketball.
sure,
So,
for
yeah.
sure.
So how much? What it says that you averaged 15, 4, and 3. Um, how was the competition? How was the basketball there? Because from what I remember, and considering the places that I've been, France bigs were definitely more athletic. I
Oh,
wouldn't say
absolutely.
they were just wild, like horses, like they just full of energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's a different
Yeah,
style of play. So how was that for you as a guard?
yeah. It took me probably a little month, truthfully, when I got there to adjust to the physicality and
Yeah.
the length and what I'm saying of your teammates and everybody else in that league. Second league France is high athleticism, right? You got big wings. What I'm saying, some of the leagues I played in before. Okay, I could play the three as 6'3", 6'4". So a league like that is 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" wings, what I'm saying, playing the three and the
Mm.
four. So, it's definitely a little bit of an adjustment at first, but ultimately I had a good year. Like you said, I think I was around 15 a game. And I think that year that was top 10 in the league in scoring. We didn't have a ton of team success, right? So
Yeah.
that was my first time dealing with, what I'm saying, guys getting cut, guys getting sent home, us losing a little bit. So I started with 4 imports in that league. We started with 4 imports. And by, I think, January, all 3 of the guys I came in with had been released or
Mm.
cut, what I'm saying, and brought in. Where we ended up finishing 13th out of 18th that year
What
and Pro B.
I don't mean to cut you off, but what do you feel like separated you then and there? Why do you what separated you from you keeping your job and them, losing it? Do you feel like it was just one of the just a decision? You feel like you quote unquote got lucky, or you feel like you just separated yourself a little bit better?
I definitely feel like I separated myself, right? First,
Okay.
I mean, I was doing good numbers,
Yeah.
with high efficiency, and when we were rolling a little bit, I was helping us roll. The guy released were high level players at that. I would say they were just probably a little too young, right? So this is my 5th season. It was 1 rookie and 2 second-year other guys, right? That came in with imports with me, and they were just a little young, maybe, and didn't understand, like, France is, they people want to win, it's very professional. So if you're
Mm.
not dotting your I's, crossing your T's, and doing things the right way, it's not college anymore. It's gonna show, and they're gonna have to make changes. Maybe they don't want to, but they're gonna have to. The results are the results. So I mean, it was times where I wanted to leave too. I'm like, man, we lose. It's my first. What I'm saying, we were just talking about. I'm coming off 3 championships already, or close to it. Like,
Mm.
and then my first time losing. I'm not feeling good about that. That's not. It wasn't good for my mentals.
Yeah.
But I
What was your
grew.
record?
Uh, I couldn't even tell you our record. I know we finished 13th out of 18. So
Oh, yeah, yeah,
if for about the last 4 or 5 weeks of season, we knew we weren't making the playoffs, and we were pretty much out of the relegation as well. So
yeah.
we were just kind of playing. It was a big mental test to stay focused and stay locked in and continue to get those numbers and play a good brand of basketball, because what I'm saying, you do got a contract year coming up. Every year is a contract year in Europe. Okay, what your contract say? Every year is a contract year in Europe. So,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, I definitely was able to stay locked in and ended up having some good numbers, at least, some good individual success, even though we weren't that great as a team.
Hmm. How was outside of basketball? How was your lifestyle in France compared to the other places you've been? I know you said that you go back and forth between Switzerland, just to get groceries, but I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
I'm sure you was. I wouldn't necessarily say outside, right? But I mean, it
right.
was a little cheaper, right? Like,
Yeah, no, it was definitely cheaper. I was in the real north part of France, right? So we had Lille that was 30 minutes away. That's like the third, fourth biggest city in France. So that's a nice town. It's 30 minutes away. Brussels was an hour away. Amsterdam was 2.5 hours, and Paris was an hour and a half. So although I wasn't in like a great city in terms of like things to do and stuff like that, I had a bunch of places that we could slide to. And the best part about Pro B is weekends off normally. You play
Yeah.
Friday, you normally off Saturday and Sunday. So I was at yeah, it was nice to be able to slide other places and see different places of the world in just a little 2.5, 3 hour drive or a train ride, you know. It's my first
Mm,
time going to see Amsterdam in the Netherlands. I went to Belgium and seen Brussels and Antwerp and some nice cities out there. So it was cool. It was a good year. Nice cars in France. You always know you're gonna have a nice car, a nice apartment.
yeah.
So it was cool. Ultimately, I enjoyed Pro B, and obviously we'll get to it later. But I ended up going back some years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, that's what's up, bro. So after your stint in France, you go back to Geneva.
Yeah, yeah. Ended up going back.
What was your motivation to go back to Geneva?
The money,
Yeah.
the bag,
Yeah. Same
more or
coach.
less. Nah, different coach, but same owner, president guy who was a great guy. Truthfully, was real good to me and my family. Um, we stayed in touch throughout that whole year I was in France, and it just kind of worked out that way. I had some other opportunities, but went with the bag and a place that I was comfortable with, and it was also the first year my girl was coming with me, right? So he was gonna help me take care of that, and I was gonna have my lady there with me, and so yeah, we went back, and it was that actually ended up being COVID year, so
Mm,
I was only there until February.
yeah. How if you want to talk about it a little bit, what do you think if you could talk to like if you talk to the youngins out here, because you said that you keeping in touch with a lot of these owners, a lot of these, GMs, how would
So,
you talk to a young guy and tell him to get over that feeling of reaching out, putting your pride
yeah,
aside? Because
man,
I feel like
just
it's
be
important just to
yeah,
keep
it's
you right.
important. It's
Yeah.
it's mad important. It's a good thing you're touching on this for other people that are making their way or that are even there right now. Man, go have that conversation with them. They not that scary, bro. Like it's cool. I know sometimes some people can be, a little standoffish, right? Or it might feel weird to go talk to them. But I promise you, like, just keep a good relationship. Be yourself. You know what I'm saying? I come in, I try to have a smile every day. Good day or bad day, I come in, try to be professional. That's for sure. And that's going to be rewarded in the end. So when you build these relationships with these people and you go have a full season there, maybe it doesn't work out that next season where maybe you don't want to go back. Maybe they don't want you back. Maybe the money's not right. Whatever the reason is or isn't, you don't know what's going to happen down the line. You don't know
Mm,
who you going to, don't burn that bridge. You don't know who you going to need to call and for what reason, So I always, always mostly try to keep
yeah.
that good relationship. Say it don't always happen. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes, heads butt. But if you could just be professional, period, that's gonna help you anyway.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that even before we get into your later parts of your season because you are, I think, considering the people that I've interviewed now, you are the highest years when it comes to playing overseas. You're a veteran, so
Yeesh.
um, what is what's your idea of professionalism when it comes to this sport? Like when you talking to the young guys coming in, what's your idea of professionalism?
Hmm. That could be a loaded question, but I mean, just having manners, right? And and not bitching too much. You know what I'm saying? I think I was. This is part of the reason. Another reason I'm thankful for my Division II upbringing. Right? I get here. I'm not used to the pre-made meals and good travel situations, that kind of stuff. Like sometimes it don't happen. Sometimes the travel ain't the right way or the meals ain't right or whatever. It's gonna be that way, okay? It ain't nothing, bitching about it ain't gonna help nobody, right? I'm saying
Yeah,
I ain't saying you're not gonna complain at all to your homie or something, but like I'm saying being vocal about it or threatening to sit out, sometimes that stuff don't really be helping. But I'll say just do the little things, right? Be nice to everybody. Be nice to the water people, to the trainer and people. You know what I'm saying? Have relationships with those people as well. Go get extra work in. Ask questions. Go watch film with coach if you need to go watch film with coach. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. And then when it comes to the GMs and all that kind of stuff, I mean, maybe you don't have that much communication with them for the most part, but when you do, just let your presence be felt and be yourself. And ultimately, you good people, that's gonna work out well for you. Now, on the contrast, what's not professional, right, is
Mm.
like walking in eating McDonald's or something. Like some young cats be on stuff like that, walk in, eating bad, uh, having too many beers or something while up in the presser or like up at the VIP after the game. Okay, maybe you can get one or two off or whatever. But if that, you know what I'm saying, you might even just lie like I don't drink, you know what I'm saying, and don't be have that around them. Just don't have that reputation because one of my favorite things my college coach told me, Nick Bradford, you never know who's watching. You
Facts.
never know who's watching. Period. Maybe it's not
Facts.
a big deal to you. Maybe it is to them, but you never know who's watching.
It's crazy, bro. Can you imagine? Think about this, Keith. I was in Pro A. I was at Shalom. I remember after the game, bro, and you know how it is in France. Like people, I wouldn't necessarily say people are into fashion or anything, but you definitely wearing some jeans and a decent shirt to a game. You know what I'm saying? Fam,
Mandatory.
I, I went in, after the games, they got your place where you can eat. They serving the wine.
VIP, yeah.
Man, say I walked up in there with some flip flops, bro. My second year, I remember to a T. I had because again, I didn't know like the professionalism. I didn't know, the conduct of what it
Hmm.
takes. Man, I walk in there, t-shirt, flip flops, and I had two glasses of wine. You know what I'm saying? So but they're looking. I look like I know I did.
They looking.
They looking, bro. So yes, if for y'all, those of y'all that are hearing that, that is definitely some wise words from a decent man, man. Y'all need to tap into that. That's awesome, bro.
Appreciate that.
So after Switzerland, what was next for you?
So that was after COVID year, right? Season ended early. Everybody at home, cooped up.
Yeah,
That was my
yeah. How was that? We didn't even really talk about that. How was the COVID year hit y'all in Switzerland? Like, was it?
right. So it hit Italy first, right? Italy was like, besides China, like Italy was one of the first places to get a lot of outbreaks, and that borders our country. So it came to us quick, man. And as soon as we're reading about it on the news, coach talking about, okay, we got morning practice. We in this other school where there's a bunch of kids running around. I'm like, no one else is saying nothing. Everybody, like, all right, coach, all right. I'm like, yo, you sure that's a good idea? Like, we already
Yeah.
got two guys on the team that are sick, and we about to
Mm.
be around a bunch of kids. I'm like, I asked him, I said, yo, you sure that's a good idea, coach? Next thing I know, about 10 minutes later, they calling me like, season's over. Like, I'm like, oh, what? We were just talking about practice. Like,
Man.
I ain't even get a practice was canceled text. Like, I got a call from the president, season's over. I'm like,
Mm.
what? Are we going to talk about the contracts? Are we going to talk about the bread? We're going to talk about the flights? What do you
Yeah.
mean? That's what he said. And he hung the phone up. He said, I'm going to get back with you as soon as I know everything. I got to get back with you tonight.
Mm.
I don't even know what to do, right? I'm calling my mom and them. It's middle of the night. We just woke up. I'm like, damn, like, what? Am I shutting the borders down, whatever? So, like I said, I'll stay right by the airport. I was on the first flight like 24 hours later.
Yeah.
Um,
Did they
and
get you
went
your
right.
flight?
They did give me my flight. Yep. They helped me get out.
Get your bread?
I ain't get my chicken, but I got my flight.
Get that?
Yeah, it was it was a little shiesty because, it was hit or miss. Some teams
Yeah.
were honest and transparent about it, and some teams were a little selfish to say whatever. Like we don't
Yeah.
got families to feed too, right? So I know a lot of
Yeah.
teams in the league gave the guys maybe 80% of the checks, right? Or like 80% of the money for the rest of the checks, or even 100% in a lot of times. And yeah, unfortunately, I got the rest of that. I got the next month, I think, or something like that. That I was there for like the first 2 days, or maybe it was March or something, February. So for the first couple of days, and then we got the rest of that month, and then yeah, unfortunately, we missed out on the last 3 4 months left on that contract, which
Yeah.
you know, it is what it was, but wasn't nothing you could do about it, right? The borders were
Nah.
closed. Phones
Mm,
was off. Everybody was inside. Like, yeah, wasn't nothing to
yeah.
do about it. I had to bite the bullet.
Yeah. Yeah. So how was?
But hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt on that one. But mind
Go
you, I
ahead.
said I went for the bread, right? You asked me why I
Mhm.
went to Geneva. I said I went for the bread. And I ended up not even getting my bread because of COVID. Yeah, stuff.
That- That's crazy. That's how it be sometimes, man.
Learned the lesson.
That's wild, bro. So going into the summer, you said you was on the plane 24 hours later. Um, what was next for you? I mean, obviously everybody was on pause. You know what I'm saying? So, you signed next year. Where'd you sign to what?
Uh,
Romania?
yep, Romania. Yep. For that
Mm,
year, for me, I said that I want to play FIBA Euro Cup or international play, no matter where it's at. For the most part, that's where I was in my career. I felt like the numbers I had and the places that I've been and the winning that I had done should have already had me, you know what I'm saying, in the top league or, you know what I'm saying, like a nice situation. And I was in some good situations, don't get me wrong, but I felt like my game and my results should have been higher. You know, I'm sure
yeah,
a lot of people feel that way, but that's how I felt, right? So I said, okay, if it's not playing in Europe, if that's what's holding me back, I need to play in Europe this year. So I chose to go to Romania. I went to BC Sibiu, right? Sibiu was the name of the town. Great basketball town, great fans. I had probably one of my best seasons of my career there. We played FIBA Euro Cup, and that's why I chose to go to Romania because I wanted to play FIBA Euro Cup, and we did, and we had some good success. I think we made it to the second round. So
you
I
pulled
think
that
it
year.
was huh?
I'm sorry. Who was in your pool that year for Euro Cup play?
We played Balkan, we played Besiktas, and we
Oh,
played Aradia, another Romanian team who was a good team in Romania. And we ended up we went to Turkey because it was COVID, so we did the bubble, right? So we went to Turkey, we played in the bubble, we played 3 games in 4 days. Played against the other teams. We went 2-1, and because of the point spread, we ended up winning the bracket, right? So it's cool. Now we 1 game away from the final eight. And it being COVID year, things were up and down with budgets for different teams, right? So we had a guy that got bought out and got bought out after New Year's, went to BBL in Germany, Bundesliga in Germany. Another guy had a child, had to go back home for his kids, so now we bringing in new guys, and the team dynamic wasn't exactly the same. We ended up losing in that second round game to Reggie Emilia, team in A1 Italy. We lost by
mm-hmm.
like 4. It was a good game, competitive game. And yeah, so after that season, I think I had made the FIBA Euro Cup team, and I averaged 16 and 6 in FIBA Euro Cup that year, like 45 from three. Like I went there and did exactly what I was supposed to do. I had a good year, and I remember that year specifically being locked in, right? More than
Yeah,
most, but just because it was that COVID year. And like I said, I chose to go to Romania, and I was there for one reason. I was there to work and to propel myself in my career and either get to where I want to be in terms of leagues or salaries. So, after that year, I pretty much did that.
yeah. How was the culture there in Romania?
I loved it, man. The city I was in was nice. It was cheap. I would say it's almost literally half price, right? And I'm coming from Switzerland too, so
Yeah,
more than half price, right? You go out to Benihana's, right? They got Benihana's in Romania. Go to Benihana's is you might as well get 2 meals because it's half the price. Everywhere you
what?
go, it was good food. I was in a nice city. They drive crazy as hell. I don't care if y'all hear me or not. They drive crazy out there. Um, but it was cool. It's a real competitive league too. There's some good teams in that league with some big money. Um, and we were kind of, top middle of the pack in terms of what we were supposed to do. And we only lost 5 games in the regular season that year. We finished tied for second in the league. Um, and yeah, so we had some good success, and we lost early in the playoffs. But like I said, we kind of switched our roster up, and our team dynamic wasn't exactly the same anymore after we switched our roster up. But we still were very competitive and had a really good team and a really good season overall.
Yeah. How was the I'm backtracking a little bit, but how was that y'all played Euro Cup in Turkey, like bubble style. So
Yeah.
y'all had to do that fast. Like
Yeah,
it
we
was.
played 3 games in 4 days. We couldn't leave the hotel, right? So if we in Istanbul, we trying to slide to the mall, slide to Popeyes, whatever. We couldn't leave the hotel. So that sucked,
Hey,
but
Keith, you know what's crazy, bro? I don't mean to cut you off either. I think I was in well 2021. Nah, I was in Mexico when all this. I thought I was still in because I was in Turkey when COVID hit as well. So I was thinking
to the
that
year
maybe
before.
I was yeah. I got hit in March 2020. That's when I was in Turkey. Then the following year,
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Okay, nah. So that bubble experience wasn't really that hot, huh?
Man, it wasn't, but I mean, we got to play 3 pretty high level games, and it's back to back to back, right? So we're not waiting a week to going home and away. We got to watch these teams play. We was there on a business trip. We ended up getting first place. Our owners and stuff bringing in the bottles and the champagne and stuff that after we win, because I think it was our club's first time winning games in Europe as well.
Yeah.
They had played FIBA Euro Cup before. I think they maybe didn't. I think they went like 0-6 or something like that. The 2 or 3 years ago, they had played FIBA Euro Cup, and
Mm-hmm.
so it was a big deal for everybody. And like I said, some guys got bought out. Like they was hooping so major they ended up going up into better leagues halfway through the season. So it was a great experience in terms of the basketball, but obviously the COVID stuff and the restrictions and yeah, we was on the nose swabs and all of that, so that wasn't cool. But it was nice to make that second round, and then we got to play like a good team in Italy. They got some good players on their team. They coming in, and we go to another bubble to play them. And luckily that bubble's in Romania, and we ended up losing to them by 4, like I said, and that was the end of the FIBA Euro Cup run for us.
Mm. Nice, nice, nice. How does so following into next year? Next year, where was you at? Going into your season.
In the Netherlands in the B Next League, right? So I
Mm,
played in Donar. And my thinking that summer, because I had a lot of interest that summer, my thinking was that I wanted to run FIBA Euro Cup back. And so, yeah, I chose to go to Donar in the Netherlands. I mean, the Netherlands lifestyle was so cool. It was so chill, so mellow. But
yeah,
it's a small country, but it's pretty populated as well. Amsterdam is like one of the most Americanized cities in Europe, I'll say. One of the most Americanized cities where you can go, everybody speaks English, and you got nice shopping, you got good food.
mm,
It's just a good vibe, right? And then Belgium's right across the way, 2-3 hours away. And because I was in the north, if you're down in the southern part of the Netherlands, is even closer. So and Belgium was real nice. I have experience with Belgium, obviously, before. Like I told you, I played in France, so I really like the Netherlands, man. The Netherlands was a cool place, smooth.
was it food kind of like you said, they're next to Belgium, which I wouldn't say a melting pot, but it had different cultures. What was your food like in Netherlands? Was it pretty standard? Just they
It was
didn't have.
similar to Belgium, a big melting pot, right? They had a bunch of stuff like you could find like some places in Europe you won't find Mexican food at all, right? They had some of that, like some off-brand Chipotle type of stuff, and
Yeah,
uh, I think they had good food. I don't know what their actual food is, but they had good like American opportunities to get to some good food out there.
for sure, for
And
sure.
yeah, we played. Yeah, so that same season we played FIBA Euro Cup again, and we had the opportunity to play home and away. Right, we played the home and away series with London Lions. So that was my first time I got to go out to London, and they let us stay after the game for 2 days too. That was
Nah,
cool as hell for them to let us do that. And we got to stay out in London. I think 4 or 5, 6 of the guys stayed. We was outside kicking in London.
mm.
Um, and then we played in Austria, and I can't remember who the last team was.
Man, they let y'all stay in London for 2 days, and then so I'm assuming they got your flights back and everything, right? Like y'all.
So we hit the jig while we was there. They let us change our flights at the airport. We walk up to the little United desk or whatever, and like, hey, is this a flight available for Sunday at 4:30 instead of for Friday at 4:30? I think we played on like a Thursday or something,
Mm,
and we didn't have a domestic game that following weekend. So coach was like, okay, we're gonna give you guys 2 days off after the game, including the travel day. So I was like, oh shit, I'm trying to stay. Man,
Yeah.
so they were
Yeah.
like, well, I can't tell you what you can and can't do, after the game. I'm like, hey, I ain't asking again. And so once I told the guys that, everybody was like, oh yeah, let me put something together too. So yeah, it was
Hey,
definitely cool. I think they
got back.
regretted it afterwards because we took advantage a little bit, but it was cool,
Yeah.
good memory.
Yeah. But you got to see a lot of guys. You got to get back to practice after that. You know what I'm saying?
For
They don't.
sure. It was right back to business. It was right back to business.
Nah, that's what's up, man. So the following years, how do you feel like following up and basically just kind of just leading to where you are now, and then we'll get into other things and topics.
The following years, so after I did the FIBA Euro Cup stint in Belgium slash Netherlands. We actually went to the B next final, right? The B next is the Belgium and Netherlands league together. We went all the way to the final game, lost by two, I think, in like an aggregate score situation. We ended up losing by like 2 or 3 to ZZ Leiden, who was a FIBA Euro Cup Final Four finalist that year. Like they had a good team, and we was right there. We had 8 Americans on our team. So that year, like, we had a cool group of guys, like 8 Americans that had played in good levels and that could really hoop. So off the court, we kicked it a lot. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
We won the cup championship. So that was real cool. What I'm saying? They hung the banner for us. We had a little banner night and all of that. So,
Uh,
I was grateful for my time there. And then they ended up, same team ended up going bankrupt for some embezzlement type of situations like 2, 3 years later, right?
but
So that's some Donar.
yeah, I don't. Dang.
Yeah, yeah, it's
No,
it's
I
it's
haven't.
public knowledge, so I'm not like talking bad or anything because I really enjoyed my time there, and what I'm saying, I wish them nothing but the best that they're back now, what I'm saying, and under a new entity. But yeah, it was a cool year. It was a great year with a bunch of guys that make good memories with, right? So then the following year, um, I get a call from a team in Romania. Um, just coming into some good money and a good situation. They trying to really improve themselves, this, that, and the third. So I'm like, okay, I'm giving entertaining it, and then a week or two go by and I'm like, you know what? They keep going up on the number. I'm like, yeah, let's go. That's a good situation right there for me. I'm ready to do that, and back to a league that I just came from.
Hmm.
And, and then I went to Romania, signed in Dynamo, and boom, I haven't mentioned, but that was year 9, right? Year 9. I had never missed a game in my first 9 years. I
Bro, I don't mean to cut you off, but fam, I was gonna ask you about that because when I looked it up, man, you've been consistent, fam. You've shown up every day, and I seen that you didn't fall off not one time, bro. You didn't fall
man,
off.
so yeah, so you see, yeah, if you could put them up there, you would see, right? Anywhere from 17 to 13 points a game, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5 rebounds, 3 assists,
Mm-hmm.
career wise over 40% from three. You know what I'm saying? On average. And then yeah, so this is my 9th year. I go in there and boom, first week of training camp, I tear something in my quad, right? I take 2, 3 weeks to get back from that, and I'm a little behind the 8 ball. Third game of the year, probably like a month after I did my rehab for my quad. I had a grade 2 ankle sprain. Just on a retreat dribble, stepped on somebody's foot right at half court. It was a bad one. It was grade 2. I was out 6 to 8 weeks. I came back December, and it's like middle of January. I'm like looking at my elbow. I'm like, man, my elbow really not feeling right on my shooting arm. It was locking up on me, so I couldn't go past and I couldn't go forward, right? And turns out I have 5 bones loose in my elbow pocket
Mm-hmm.
right here on my shooting arm, and I had to get microscopy surgery. I had 5 different bones removed. They looked like they were the size of teeth. They pulled them out of my elbow, and it was from a hit, right, from the floor. So they put them out of my shooting arm. My first time in my life where I can't touch a ball now, right, because of my shooting arm. I can't touch a ball for another 8 weeks. So I had 3 injuries that were, just kind of, well, I would say the ankle and the elbow hit are just like freak things that I can't really do nothing about, like I stepped
Yeah.
on somebody's foot. This shit happens, and then I hit my elbow on the floor, right? So I missed mad games. I didn't start that year. I missed a bunch of games, and I just was out of flow, And I only played a certain amount of games anyway. So then, yeah, that's how that went. And so
Yeah,
obviously, then you see a drop off in the number, right? So you see all the consistency for 8 years straight, and then yeah, I averaged like 9 a game that season. I think I only played like 20 minutes a game, compared to when I was just there in the same league 2 years before doing 17, plus and plus and whatever, whatever. So yes, it sucked to go back to a league that I had just, I want to say, dominated and played really well in, and then not be able to play well because I was battling injuries.
yeah.
So
How was your mental? I know you said that it sucked, but what do you feel like you were mentally going through? If you want to talk about that a little bit more, because people don't really understand the mental side when it comes to being isolated overseas and going through things like that. Your anxiety.
yeah.
About
Yeah, that's the word right there is anxiety, right? Like I didn't
it.
really, the word, you hear it. I never dealt with it, so people like, man, I'm so anxious right now. I'm like, bro, I don't even know what you really mean. Like I couldn't relate until I battled injuries, and then you're not playing well, and then you're not feeling well, right? And you taking it home with you. Like I was so grateful to have my lady there with me, to console me and be a book for me to open up to, that season for sure, because it was so tough. I couldn't. I'm a person who I play with a lot of pace, right? So I pride myself in my shape, right? On some
Mhm.
on some Ray Allen, Reggie Miller type of time.
Does
Um, and so I couldn't be that way because I couldn't run. And then when I had my surgery, I also couldn't run for 4 weeks because they didn't want the blood flow and blah blah. So it was tough, man. It was tough. It sucked. It wasn't fun. Basketball wasn't fun. I was worried about the next year. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I'm rushing back from injuries because that's what I used to do. Okay, I'm about 30 now. You can't do that no more when you're 30. If it's
Mm-mm.
whatever time they say it is, it's that time. If
Yeah.
not more. If not more. And so, like I said, I had never dealt with it, so it was tough for me to have to deal with that. But I more than anything, I learned for sure. I grew. That's for sure. I saw different perspectives and the things that were happening to me. I put them in the book, and I just didn't forget them, and so
So you journal,
definitely, I do journal. Yep, I do
journal
journal. I
daily.
mostly journal. I mostly do basketball journal, right? Like as a
Uh,
way to get things out. I normally go with a pregame and a postgame. Doesn't have to be right after the game, but before the next game. Okay, I'm
mm,
journaling on the pregame, talking about what I want to do, what I would like to see that night, how I'm feeling, whatever. Could be short, could be a page, could be 2 pages, and then after the game, you know, affirmations or um, something that okay, I only had I've turned down 2 shots last night from 3 when I should have took them or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That can't happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm
mm.
writing about it, making sure it's on wax. That something I don't want to forget. Just small things, but it's
How
something
long
that
you
I did, huh?
how long have you been doing that?
Once I started getting anxiety, right? So it started when I was in the Netherlands. Probably halfway through that season, I started to do with the journaling, and then I
Yeah,
carried probably this is my fourth season now journaling. I get a new journal every season.
nice. Who put you on to that, or what put
My
you on?
My brother writes. My brother's a professor. He's a doctor of physical therapy, and he always journals. He always has since we were in high school. And for me, I was like, okay, it was journaling and then taking walks. Those are the two things that really help with my mentals, when I was going through it that season. Like just going on long walks in a quiet place with the wifey, with the headphones, or without. But it, didn't have to be
Walk.
mandated or without. Doesn't matter. And it was just a cool little getaway, cool little, what I'm saying, vent, get it out. You know what I'm saying, right? Get it out, and it should help me really.
Cool. Hey, bro, I'm gonna be honest. You helped me with that because that was one thing that was gonna be on my mind for this year. Maybe just doing it because I mean, you know me, I play with a lot of passion, and so I like to go into games clear minded, you know, and I think that's one of the things that'll help me. And then after the games,
especially if it's a loss, right? Like I don't like I gotta write that down, bro. I gotta put that down, my feelings, my thoughts, because yeah, I think that's
Do
I
that.
think because
Do that,
yeah,
bro.
bro, I'm not gonna lie, you helped me with that.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to see how
that's
that
what's
goes for you because I do think it'll help you.
yeah. Um, cool, man. So you want to talk about where you're at now and how things are going for you, your current
Let's
current
um let's hit year 10 first, right? Because we that's the only
what
one
do
in
you what
between
years
us
you
and
got?
now. Just 10,
The
10, and then now.
Oh, okay, my fault, brother. I jumped it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit more about your 10th year and where were you at and where you played at.
Right. So this is following the year in Romania, right, where I went through all the injuries.
Mm,
So like I said, I went back to Romania for a nice number, like they were talking good money, and that's why I went to Romania. So I'm thinking, okay, I didn't have a great year in Romania, but it's the only year in 10 years or 9 years that like you could see why it dropped off. There's evidence to why the number dropped off from 15 a game career to about nine, and then you look at the
mm,
minutes and that correlates, and then you see the injuries, and so really I'm like, okay, I'm interested to see what the interest is going to be like, because I'll tell you right now in Europe, it's not where you've been, it's where you are, you know,
mm,
especially as you start to get older. It's not where you've been, it's where you are, right?
mm.
And I also had a child that year, right? So my son was born in June after that year in Romania. My son was born in June. Um, we did some, long story short, we tried to get his passport. It took forever, right? We didn't get his passport until September 25th. And I simply just wasn't leaving without my family. Um, so I signed late I went back to Pro B in France. I signed to Saint Chamond. I signed, September 21st, I think, and I was out 2 days later, and I left my family for a couple of days because I knew the passport was coming, but we didn't know when, but this was such a good opportunity. I just couldn't let it go. I
Had to
knew they
jump
would
it.
be there. Yeah, I had to jump on it. I knew they would be there within a week, so I wasn't stressing on it, but it was frustrating that we didn't get his passport. It took so long to get it that I had to turn a lot of deals down. And then the interest
Yeah.
levels was, okay, well, why isn't he playing? Or da da da. So I ended up signing to a good team, good league, good situation. The money was great in France, and it was a blessing, right? I subbed in, or it's not subbed in. I replaced the guy that was injured, so I signed a 3 month contract for a short
Hmm.
term medical replacement. So I signed from September to December. We had a good time, good record while I was there. I think when I left, we were in like sixth place, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And I went home for Christmas, and unfortunately, as I'm there and I'm making a good impact, the guy that I'm replacing is there the whole time too, right? Guy, Lowry Sapella, that's my guy, So it was it was a little weird, right? Because I'm playing well and he's rehabbing and I'm playing in his position because he's not there, So it was a little weird at first, but then when we finally put it together, hey, bro, we on the same team. Like, I'm not coming for your spot, you know what I'm saying? Da da da. I'm just here till you get back. And then I left, I left and I went to Switzerland right after my medical replacement contract was up. So then I did Switzerland from right after Christmas until February at the national team break for about 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And my agent is a Swiss guy. And as I left Saint Chamond in France, they struggled a little bit. Not because of me, just whatever other reasons, they just struggled a little bit. So they called me at the national team break, like, listen, can we get you back? Like, I'm like, you actually might be able to, and I would like to be back. Like, I like the
Yeah.
group of guys and the style of play a lot, and like I said, I like the league. Uh, so my agent Swiss, so he pretty much runs the whole Swiss market. Yeah, so he figured it out for me. He put it together. He did the math, and he got me back to France. And the team wanted me. We went back. We made a push for the playoffs. They ended up losing like eight out of 10 while I was gone, right?
Yeah.
So that wasn't great. And I came back. We made a push from like 13th to 8th place. Now we're in the playoff race. And then with a couple games to go, actually with one game to go, we ended up not making it. We were even getting the 9 seed off of like tiebreakers and stuff like that. So it was a good year, man. I had a great time, good team in France. And, I was grateful for that season. and coming off of the injury-filled season, right, Romania, I was fully healthy in France. I took a lot of time to put a lot of work into my body during the season and in that summer. And shoot, we was in the weight room with Kobe, right,
Yeah.
in the pyramids. That was that same summer.
Yeah.
So shout out to CB Fit, man. Yeah, we was
Right.
getting it in. Had to really start taking care of my body because I'm plus 30 now, so it's not the
Different.
same anymore. You can't just skip out on that weight room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's different, bro. I feel you on that, man. I'm finding myself spending a lot of time in the weight room now as well. I
Yeah,
touch
right.
weight more than I do. Well, not necessarily the ball, but you get my
Nah, overstood.
yeah, yeah. So after France that summer, you said you're 10. Who's the
Yep.
last year? Spinelli Masagno?
Nah, so that was the Swiss team I went to in the middle of the season, right? So now we're
Mm-hmm.
here. Now I'm in Denmark, full circle. I got my son here, my wife here, soon to be my wife, 6 months pregnant, and we about to have our baby girl here too. And so,
Congrats.
that. Thank you, I appreciate that. That played a lot into why I wanted to come back here, and comfortable place that I've been at before, some of the best healthcare in the world, and making the best out of the situation we in. It's a good situation, good lifestyle. So it's nice to have the fam here, and it's pretty much full circle. Like I said, I started here, so it's nice
Yeah.
to be back.
Do you have any expectations? Obviously, I know that you do, but what are your expectations, for this season? I'm not saying that you have to share your ultimate goals, but
Yeah,
what are your thoughts coming into this year? This what 11th year?
11th year. So my expectations every year, right, is to get better every day. Like that's the number one goal. Always has been, always will be. What are your expectations for the season? What are your goals? I get better every day, and the rest will take care of itself. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna have other goals, right? But if you get better every day on the court, off the court, take care of your body, do the little things, grow as a person, championships gonna come and they gonna go, right? But
Mm,
that's a steady variable every day that's gonna help you in life. So that's how I like to keep that. Of course, I want to win a championship. Of course, I want to be highly competitive and play in the high level games. That's always the goal. So and this year, I'm locked in on the hoops. Don't get me wrong, but I'm on father time too. I'm on dad time, so you know that's big for me. And obviously, life changes for those. If you, they literally say, if you know, you know, you know, you know.
yeah,
Life changes when you have kids, right?
yeah.
So that's one of my main things too. Grow as a
If
father.
if you want to talk about it, how has the transition been for you as a father, playing overseas basketball? What are the challenges and what are the advantages that you feel like you
Yeah.
have?
Man, I see most of the advantages in my aspect, right? You go to practice 4 or 5 hours a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, whatever it is. Rest of the time you're at home with your kid, right? Your fam, taking care of yourself. I'm taking care of them. You get to see them grow. You don't got to put them in daycare for the most part. If you're lucky, unless you really want to or whatever. And for me, that's like the ultimate advantage. I don't got to ask other people to watch my son, right? I
Mm,
get to be home watching myself.
mm,
I ask others to teach them this, that, or the third. I get to teach them myself because I'm home, you know, 18 to 20 hours a day for most of the days of the week, right? Um, and I think that early in my career, before I had a family with me, it was just completely different. Sometimes it was cool. Sometimes I'd be bored. Whatever. I much rather prefer to have a family with me now. I don't want to go nowhere without them, right? Like it's just more eventful, more to do, more to see. It's gonna push you to go see other things. It's gonna push you to, what I'm saying, get out the house, right? You know what I'm saying? Open
yeah,
your eyes to your surroundings and that kind of stuff. So, definitely, I mean, I can't even imagine. I don't even really remember before the fam, like it was just a whole another life, whole another me for the most part.
yeah, yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Yeah. So is he into little man into basketball, anything like that? Teaching them or is
Yeah,
he?
definitely he's getting into basketball and he likes soccer too, like kicking the ball around. I like what he likes, but I
Yeah,
do love for him come to the games and be able to watch, like, and then now he old enough to come in the locker room. He sat in the locker room by me the other day. He was still as he was still standing up a coach like that the whole time for about 5 minutes, and coach was kind of getting it in too. I was proud. I'm like, oh man, he didn't
Yeah,
say nothing. He was locked in. So, it's cool to give him those locker room experiences, and that's another reason why, I want to keep going, for now, for sure.
yeah, that's what's up, brother. I think it's a blessing. I'm that with obviously with my 5 and 3-year-old. They're with me all the time. They see, shooting on a gun. They're always at the gym. Actually, I got IV, little man. He asked me today. He said, Dad, you want to go shoot today? We're gonna go shoot. I said, son, it's my day off. I said it's my day off. I said we're gonna have plenty of tour days next year to be able to come up and enjoy it. So
Yeah.
no, that's
He holding
what's
you
up.
accountable.
Yeah, he actually is, bro. And it's cool, bro, because like for me, like I always see him and he wants to play, bro. Like him and Tobias, like they want to play,
Yeah.
but on the same side, I don't want to be that that dad that pushes them to basketball
Right.
because again, they see that shit 24 hours a day, bro. It's
Yeah.
on my iPad, it's on the TV at night, you know what I'm saying? When I'm studying, like they see it all the time. So I encourage them to like do like soccer, to do handball, to do other sports, experience that, get
Yeah.
used to the body. So but yeah, man, it's been a major blessing, bro, to say the least.
No,
So
sir.
anyway, another question for you. Who do you who do you emulate your game off of? I need one NBA player or two. You mentioned them earlier. Hopefully the audience was paying attention for your NBA guys. But do you have a overseas basketball player that you like, that you watch a lot?
Uh, Growing up in Europe in my first seasons, right? First 5, 6, 7 seasons before he retired, I loved JC Carroll from Real Madrid, right? JC
Mm.
Carroll used to come off every pin down. He was such a threat. I think he's one of like 4 or 5 guys to ever shoot 50, 40, 90 and average 20 a game. A lot of people don't know, unless you follow Europe, don't know who he is. All right. He went to Utah State, I believe. And yeah, like I said, he's one of only 4 or 5 people that have done the 50, 40, 90 on 20 points a game in NCAA. So him, NBA players, I grew up watching like Allen Houston, Reggie Miller, right? Young Ray Allen. Like I love curls off, pin downs, mid range or three, stuff like that, flare outs. So those are guys I grew up watching. I like some NBA guys now, like modern day shooting guards, right? Love D Booker, obviously. Probably the best shooting guard in the league right now, if you ask me. I like CJ McCollum's game, right? He gets to the midi a lot. I like Brad Beal in his Washington days when he was playing the two off of John Wall. Brad Beal was doing a lot of the one dribble, two dribbles, catch and shoot, playing pin downs, and he had the ISOs too. So those are some guys I really I was watching a lot and like their game for sure.
Yeah, you're the type of player that wants to maximize because you don't put the ball on the floor a lot. It's not like you're over excessive with like 5, 6 dribbles in one spot. You probably at the most maybe 2 or 3. You get into your spots and it's a pull up or a floater. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you like you said, you want to maximize your conditioning, right? You want to outwork, outrun people, get them tired. They won't be able to keep
absolutely.
up. Yeah,
Yeah, I have guys tell me, like, can you stop running? Like, I'm always on the go. I'm always on the move out there, and catching shoot, attacking closeouts, coming off pin downs. I feel most comfortable when I'm coming off a screen and I'm going right into a shot. Like I know the amount of repetitions I've done of the exact same steps going into that same shot. I always just feel most confident in situations like that. So definitely took a lot of work, but we got there.
Bro, I ain't gonna hold you. You probably one of the better guards that I played with, especially when it comes to like TBT, because that's honestly the only times we played with. But I know for a fact that one, that you're automatic mid range shooter. Your shit is
Yeah,
automatic, right? You're a sniper. But two is the fact that you're able to play make in those areas, um, because you can read the game a lot. You read the game. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And so I love you remember every time, hey yo, Keith, my way, come
right.
my way.
Playing
That's
that 2 man a lot.
yeah, always, bro. And even for me, like one, I liked I like getting you open. I always say I'm physical, so I like setting those screens. I don't care about that. But I knew that your 2 points like was my 2 points because
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because
Screen
team
assist.
wise, yeah. And I know that you were able to make that play. And even, let's say we had like somebody guarding me, right? You were always able to make those dump downs. So
Yeah.
if I hope that, people can kind of visualize this. If you coming off a down screen and your guy is late guarding you, obviously I'm hitting that screen. The big man,
Mm-hmm.
he has to react because you done hit about 3-4 of them already.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the guys that you were playing with, they loved those situations. The bigs you were playing with overseas, they love setting those screens for you, bro. I'm
Man,
sure they
yeah.
did.
That's how I get my cheese for sure. And I like to, get back to the guys that helped me, no question. It took a while for me to be able to read the game, you know what I'm saying? As high as the levels I do now. I probably wasn't able to do that until probably year 4 or year 5. Probably in year 4 when I went back to Geneva, that coach really helped me learn, advantages, right, and releases for advantages, and when to take
Yeah,
advantage of yourself as well. So a lot of credit to him and myself for putting that work in and understanding, how the game goes. That comes with a lot of film and a lot of reps.
you watching? Yeah, I was gonna say, were you watching film a lot, like throughout your college? I mean, not college career, but throughout
Yeah.
your professional career, you watch a lot of
Yeah,
film.
I say right now I can't go to sleep until I watch it. Like
Yeah,
right after the game. It's not no.
yeah,
Sometimes I maybe catch it in the morning, but truthfully, if it's like a game that's not, what I'm saying, like high level game or something, what I'm saying, not something a game you're looking forward to as much. Maybe let's put it that way. To be
yeah,
kind about it. Okay, maybe I catch it in the morning, but I still want to see it. You know what I'm saying? I
yeah.
like to watch it just me, just myself. And then maybe I'll rewatch it later and watch the team too and watch what's going on here and there. But I'll rewatch myself from a misstep in a stagger screen to one less dribble for a dump off, all of those kind of things that, I'm saying, I play frame by frame and watch them. The eye in the sky does not lie. So
Mm.
you only helping yourself when you do those things, not to mention that I literally can't sleep until I watch the game again. I need to know why I missed, or and to see is there something I can see, is my hand placement wrong? Like, how did I miss that? Or say, dang, I wish I would have hit that, or dang, I like that move. Let me keep replaying that one again so I can get back to that. All of
Yeah.
them. So all of it really.
So do you watch other players? I mean, not other players, but other teams in your league. Like, if you got that big game coming up, well, not even necessarily that big game, but the next game coming up. Do you watch
Sometimes,
that
yeah.
by yourself?
Sometimes,
Not with the club or anything, but
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
just by.
by yourself. Sometimes, definitely early in my career, I did a lot. But truthfully, not as much anymore do I watch it. Maybe if it's like a series though, like when we're in the playoffs. Okay, playoffs are here.
Yeah.
We're in a series, consistently playing. Okay, that I'm breaking down for sure. Because you want to. I mean, obviously you're watching your own game anyway, but you want to see how
Mhm.
this team is going to play you in certain situations, type of time.
Nice. If you could give one piece of advice to a young guy coming trying to go overseas or even be a professional for that matter, what would you give him? What would you say?
That somebody's already overseas, somebody's trying to get overseas,
Trying to get overseas,
trying to
going
get
into
overseas.
going into their first or second year.
I would say get the exposure, right? I've literally seen situations where guys are posting their workouts, and I know people hate people posting their workouts sometimes, right? People do it all the time now, so I guess it ain't as shunned upon anymore. But like, this is what I'm doing on a daily basis, and this is what it looks like. This is how I do, and make sure it's game like, right? Situational. Like, the more game film you have on yourself, live reps, workouts, whatever, the more that it's accessible for teams to see exactly who you are, because you are just a fish in the pool. Uh,
Hmm.
the better it is for you, because teams are like, I don't know. Show them.
So
Can he do this? Show them. You know what I'm saying? Don't leave it up to chance. So yeah, let that exposure be a part of that exposure. If that means going to play in the TBT to get some game film
yeah,
against some good competition, shall be it. If that means going to, something that's a combine or something where there are people there to see you, eyes to see you, it's important, especially if you're trying to get overseas. And if you overseas in your first year and you're trying to get to your second or third year and keep growing in your contracts, have your 4 or 5 game films, your best films ready. Have your stat
Mm.
and your bio ready. I don't care if it's your agent has it or not. You need to have it, right? You have it on deck. Teams will hit you up directly sometimes on Facebook, on Instagram, on whatever. Have your stuff ready. I would say
Yeah.
that's definitely very important.
Yeah. I actually just created what do you call it? A resume, like a sports resume for
That's
myself.
exactly what he calls it. That's what it is.
I got all my years, all my stats. It's right in my files, man. So,
I got it
but
in my stuff locked in too.
you got one too?
I got it locked in. My
Yeah,
notes
yeah,
page.
yeah,
You could do it yourself. That's what I'm saying. It ain't nothing to it but to do it. You could do it. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If you're struggling or if you're seeking new jobs and opportunities, it's not hard to do. Just gotta apply yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So, outside of basketball, what are you necessarily enjoying slash doing right now? And obviously, besides the latter being a father, you
Right,
know,
right. Um, I,
what
I
else are you?
I probably golf 2 or 3 days a week at least. That's definitely a hobby that I picked up in the last 5 years now. I love golfing. I'm not that good still. I'm kind of nice. Don't get it twisted, but I love to golf, man. I love being with the family and the friends. I'm from Kansas City. I love barbecuing, going to barbecues, all of that. Um, Recently I picked up player development, right? I've been
Yeah,
training my whole life and with trainers on my own. I've always been something to write my workouts down before that I do them anyway. So it's really just studying other developments, right? Other people who develop and applying it to yourself and tweaking it, putting your own twist on it. And so yeah, as we worked together last summer a little bit as well. And this summer I kind of dove into it a little bit more full time, more part time ish, and had some good clients, some big clients, and guys that I work with that I call friends and family. So the player development is definitely something I'm see myself translating to post career as well.
yeah. Like, do you feel like you want to do it for an NBA team? You want to do it for a college team?
Why
How do you?
not? Why
Yeah,
not? Why not? I think that the passion that I bring for the game, the way I'm able to speak to people, and build relationships. I feel like I'm a very understanding person. Why not? I think I could do it at the highest level, right? I already have guys I work with that are in the A. They trust me with the work, so I'm gonna go ahead and reach for the stars. I believe that in any room I go in, I can light that room up and bring something positive and useful to that room. So yeah,
yeah.
NBA, college, high school, even high level stuff is good work for sure. So that's kind of something I've been pretty passionate about for almost 2 years now. And yeah, I continue to see myself growing in that situation as well.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Marquis Addison. Again, I appreciate you being here and taking the time to share your story with Four Pros, man.
Man, my dog, appreciate you, Big Git, man. Good luck to us both, man.
Yes, sir.
And there you have it. There's Marquis Addison's story. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for taking the time to listen to it. If you're on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe the video. We really, really appreciate it. If you have any comments, please feel free to say anything below. I will be sharing Marquis Addison's Instagram in the description box below so you can continue to follow his journey as well. For those of you that are listening on all podcast platforms, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to listen. Um, if if it's in your heart, please rate the podcast and leave a review. We appreciate the love that you have for Four Pros podcast. We really want to get these stories out to as many people as possible so that people can understand the life that we live in overseas basketball. For those that are still tapped in, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And we will be dropping another episode in a couple of weeks. Stay tuned.